morning and welcome to AARP Missouri's fitness series, Moving It. I'm Loretta with AARP to help kick off our new fitness program. Moving It has three offerings to help keep you fit. Our program today, Tai Chi, will be delivered by Jewish Community Center instructors Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Another fitness offering is Forever Fit, which has been developed and will be delivered by the Jewish Community Center of St. Louis. This program takes place every Monday at 10:30 via Zoom like this program. Our final offering, Moving with Val, will be on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on AARP Mo, Facebook, and YouTube channels. This fitness series is open to anyone, anywhere, so tell your family and friends. Moving It is a part of our overall program, The Good Life with AARP, which provides you with tips, ideas, and experiences to help you live your best life. I encourage you to check out our other offerings out by going to aarp.org/mo. Okay, I think we're ready, Shelley.
Okay, great. So it looks like everyone is already muted. If you have questions during the class, you can text me in the chat box. And I do take several breaks, so I'll have a chance to look at that. There aren't too many of us, so if you have something at that moment, I would be okay with you asking during the class. And I think the easiest way to speak is to just press down the space bar. That way you don't have to unmute and mute yourself again. So you can press down the space bar as you're speaking, and then when you're done speaking, you release the space bar. Okay, so for those of you who were here last week, we'll do a lot of the same things. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Again, this form that we do is called Tai Chi Fundamentals. Oh, and one more thing, because I just don't know how familiar people are with Zoom. So if you want my image to be the largest image, then on the view icon, you select speaker. So that means the person who is speaking will be the largest image. If you're on gallery view, then we're all the same size. Okay. Okay. So we're going to start out just trying to relax. If the mind and the body are not relaxed, they cannot function appropriately. So we're going to start with our feet in a small V. Again, I want to make sure that you can see my feet well. So I'm going to adjust my screen. Oops. So I'm going to adjust my screen position. And so we start in what's called point. This posture is called point. The feet are in a small V. The heels don't touch. And while we're in point, we just take a few moments to relax here. Just relax your breathing. Establish a slow, even rhythm of breathing. Take a few moments, allow your attention to be more internally focused, so you're aware of your breathing. And as you relax more, you might even become aware of the movement of your lungs. So the feet, you want the weight evenly distributed over the whole of both feet. And I'll make some other comments about that as we move along. But basically, you want to be sure that you don't have too much weight on the heels of your feet or the balls of your feet or the outsides of your feet or the insides. Allow your knees to be heavy. We don't want to lock any of the joints in Tai Chi, so when you're standing, you don't want to lock the knees. Okay, so from here, we're going to bend the knees and hips and shift the weight into the right foot. I'm going to be doing a mirror image. And settle into the right foot and just step out with the left foot approximately hip width distance, and so the toes are pointed straight ahead. And then as you shift into the left foot, let your hips line up with the right foot, then turn the waist. And that's how we get into what's called a basic stance, the Wu Chi stance. So the feet are hip width distance, knees lined up with the hips, center of the foot, all lined up. I'm just going to place the hands on the lower abdomen so that we're a little more alert. In this is we're working now on the basic movement patterns, part 1. So we start off just by relaxing the breath. Again, think about your head floating up, suspended from the crown, and the tailbone having a little bit of weight. So the tailbone feels heavy. You have the idea that your spine is kind of like this. This is each of the vertebrae, and this is your tailbone. So it's upright, but not rigid, okay? So that's what we're going for here. The idea that the spine is just hanging from the top of the head, and our feet are in that Uchi posture, okay? And now without changing your rhythm of breathing, the next basic movement pattern is called heavy arms or arm swinging. The arms here, and then slowly we begin swinging the arms from the shoulder. Okay. And just like swings on a swing set, again, we don't want to lock the joints so the elbows can bend. And you want to feel the full weight of the arms, nice and slow, same slow rhythm of breathing that we just did. Okay, and then we'll pause and come back to center. The next exercise is called Crane Takes Flight. And here's where we're really working on the whole body moving simultaneously. This is the exercise, but I will do the feet first, and then we'll add the arms. So to do just the feet first, I'm going to have you place one hand on the lower abdomen and the other hand on your lower back, roughly across from it, because that'll help you figure out if you're leaning forward or if you're leaning back. The goal here is to just bend the knees and hips a little bit while you're keeping the body upright. So you bend the hips as though you were going to sit in a chair, same way you would do it. But when you go to sit in a chair, typically you stick your butt out to catch the chair, but we want to keep the body upright. That's one of the principles of movement in Tai Chi. Relax and keeping the body upright. Those are 2 of the 5. Okay, so just bending the knees and hips a little bit. And then what the arms do is the palms face each other in front of the body, and the wrists, as the wrists rise, the elbows are heavy, the wrists no higher than the shoulders. We breathe in and then we exhale. And then we inhale. You can think about the lungs expanding and the arms expanding as you breathe in, and then exhale. Okay, so we'll put it together, bending the knees and hips, breathing in as the wrists rise, and breathing out. Inhale and exhale. And as you bend the knees and hips, you want the knees to be pointed straight ahead. So as we learn Tai Chi, we are developing what's called a kinesthetic awareness of how our body is moving in space. Where is my weight? Am I leaning forward? Am I leaning back? We'll do one more. Okay. And now the next one, we're going to practice separating the weight. So we're already working on Tai Chi principles of relax, and we've been working on keeping the body upright as we were moving. Now we're going to work on separating the weight. And when we separate the weight, that's when we shift the weight. We still want to stay relaxed and keep the body upright. So the arm position for this is really just to have the forearm parallel with the floor. The elbows should feel heavy and in line with the torso. You don't want the arms out here because it's going to pull your shoulder forward. So here, and I actually often do this exercise in my kitchen, just letting my fingertips touch the edge of the kitchen counter. So here we bend the knees and hips and slowly shift down into the center of the right foot, and then slowly shift down into the center of the left. I want you to imagine that you have a soft beach ball between the knees. Okay, we're maintaining that hip width distance between the feet, and the knees need to be pointed straight ahead. This is how we protect the knees, having the knees lined up with the feet. So the knees stay stable. And internally, think about a slinky. You're releasing into one foot, or seesaw, releasing down, causing the other to rise. Don't just think about shifting left to right, because then people have a tendency to send the hips out. You want the hips parallel with the floor and even with one another. Very good. And that's called bare rooting. Okay, the next exercise, we practice separating, waist is the commander. So we're building on what we've done. We start from this neutral position. The arms are in this position called gathering the stars. Okay, so it looks like this. So again, not too far out here, brings the shoulders forward. You always want the feeling that the elbows feel heavy without necessarily collapsing. The arms can feel like can be floating and the elbows can still feel heavy. So we're going to do the feet first. Okay, from that basic stance, we're going to bend the knees and hips and shifting the weight down into the right foot. Now you're going to turn from here, turn from your center. This is what we mean by waist as the commander. Turning the waist out allows the unweighted foot to move just a little bit to the diagonal. This is not a range of motion exercise. You just want to turn a little bit. The waist turn causes the foot to move. So we're working on that coordination. The waist is the commander. The waist turns the toes out. Shift the weight, turning out and back. Shift the weight, turning out and back. Okay, these are our warm-up exercises. And what the arms do is we inhale as the arms open and exhale as we close. And there's just one more exercise after this, and then we'll do our form work. So to do it together, this exercise is called stable and open, which refers to the feet. Stable on one foot so you can open. And the arm movement is called gathering the stars. So bending the knees and hips, sinking into the right foot. Turning to the left, breathing in, just turning the waist a little bit, the arms open, not all the way, and then exhale as you turn to the front, coming back to center. Then you shift the weight into the right foot, breathing in as you turn out, and breathing out as you come back to the front. So the waist turn is causing the arms and the foot to change, and that's what happens throughout the form. So we're introducing that concept here, and breathing in, and out, and the head is floating up to the heavens, and the feet are relaxed, and the belly's relaxed, no tension in the stomach, and inhale as the arms open, and exhale as they close. Shift the weight and turn the waist, breathing in, and out. We'll do one more. Okay, and back to center. And the next exercise is the last one in the basic movement patterns, part 1. Because right now we're working on the first section of the form, which I'll demonstrate when we finish the warm-ups. So this last one, we're going to change our foot position. So there are 3 basic foot positions involved in the warm-ups and in the form. So we did the first one when we were in point, the feet were like this, and then we're in the basic stance, the feet are like this. Now what we're going to be getting into is what's called a 70-30 posture. You want to keep the distance between the feet. The rear foot is turned out a little bit to the diagonal, and then we step out with the other foot. And 70% of the weight is going to end up in the front foot, 30% in the rear foot. So now I'll guide you in doing that. So bend the knees and hips, shift into the right foot, turn to the left, turn the left toes out just a little bit. Now you want to bend, release into that left foot. You want to keep all the weight in that foot because we're going to move the right foot. And look at your right foot. You're going to step out, just take an empty step, meaning you don't want to come forward because then you're leaning. You want to keep the body upright, not put any weight or very little weight in that front foot. Now, again, one hand in front, one hand in back. We're going to bend the knees and hips and drop most of your weight into the center of the front foot. So the heel of your rear foot still is flat on the floor. And now we're going to bend the knees and hips, bending the front hip joint too, to move most of the weight into the rear foot. And the ball of the front foot remains flat on the floor. So the feet maintain their contact with the floor. Again, the weight evenly distributed over the whole foot. It doesn't matter if 10% of your weight's on the foot or 60% of the weight. And we're keeping the body upright. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see what I'm talking about a little better. So I'm bending the hips, dropping into the center of the front foot, and my body stays upright. And as I shift into my rear foot, if I keep the front hip joint bent, I'm upright. If I don't bend the front hip joint, then I end up leaning backwards, and that's what your hands will tell you. Now, if you push off the rear foot to get into the front foot, you're going to be leaning forward, okay? And the weight is not and then the weight's on the balls of the feet. So you can kind of, again, use that image of the slinky. There's flexibility in the hips. We're just shifting weight down into one foot and down into the other. Okay, now there is a component of the arms here. So go back onto your rear foot. Body's upright. The arms are down by the sides. And what we do with the arms is as we bend the knees and hips and release into the front foot, the wrists rise. The wrists are no higher than the shoulders. And the wrists are pretty much in front of the shoulders. Elbows bend slightly. And then bend the knees and hips. Excuse me, release into the rear foot. And breathing in and out. And the hips face front. Inhale and exhale. We'll do one more and then we'll change sides. Okay, so bring the front foot straight back, keeping the distance between the feet. Shift into that. So shifting into the right foot. Turn your waist, pivoting on the left heel so the feet are parallel. Okay, and now we're just going to do the other side. So we're going to bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot, turn the right toes out a little bit, just a little bit to the diagonal, all the way into the right foot, and step straight out with the left foot. So a word of caution here. If you're having trouble getting your hips facing front, I'm going to change the angle of the screen so you can really see my feet. So if you're having trouble facing front, like I can't get my hips around and it pulls on my knee, it's because the toes are turned out too much. That's why I say just turn the right foot out a little bit so that you can face front, okay? And that will allow you, that protects the knees, okay? That's good for your knees. Okay, so we're turning that foot out, we're facing front, and now the left foot is the front foot. And same exercise. Settle the body, relax the rear hip joint, the weighted hip joint, and imagine that your spine is suspended from the top of your head, and just breathing in as the wrists rise, and then breathe out into the rear foot. And inhale, and exhale, and inhale, and exhale. So the 4 principles that we've been working on are being relaxed, keeping the body upright, separating the weight, and the waist is the commander. The movement of the waist causes the arms to change. Okay, and then stay on the rear foot, pick the front foot up, bring it back, and back to the basic stance. So we'll take a very short break. I'll check the chat and have a drink of water, walk around a little bit, and then I will demonstrate the form. So it looks like there are no questions. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the first part of the form that we'll be working on. And you'll notice, especially, it's the footwork is exactly what we've been doing. So in the form, we start out in point, and just for the demonstration, I won't be doing the mirror image, but when we work together, I will do the mirror image. So we go from point, and the feet get into the basic stance, and the arms are in the Wuchi position. We have this preparation movement, which kind of gets the body ready to move, kind of energizes things. And then we do basically the last exercise with the feet. We get into the 70-30 posture, and we're shifting the weight, and the weight, the shifting of the weight is what's causing the hands to change. Okay? And then we do the mirror image on the other side. And the whole time, the goal is to stay relaxed, keep the body upright, separating the weight. Waist is the commander. And then this is the 5th principle that is in the form, but not in the basic movement patterns. And that's the straight wrist. It's called Lady's Beautiful Wrist. And this teaching lineage, this is the Tai Chi Fundamentals form that was created by Trisha Yu. But the teaching lineage goes back to the Yang family in China. And the form that this was modified is called the Yang style short form. And so we have, we keep the wrists straight. Remember I said no tension in the body? So if the wrists are bent, there's tension here, blocks the flow of chi. Now in that opening movement where the wrists change, you shouldn't feel tension in the wrists. It's like they're moving through water, okay? So let's go ahead and work on that. I just want to have a quick look at the time, see how we're doing. We have lots of time, good. Okay, so we'll do each posture and transition a couple times, then we'll put it together. So from point, our feet are in that small V. And now I'm going to do the mirror image. Take a few moments to settle. Just relax your breathing. Settle your mind and body. And we begin by bending the knees and hips, shifting into the right foot. Stepping up with the left foot, the toes point straight ahead, and we set up our hip width distance and spine to look at your feet. You want the heels lined up. And then as you shift the weight into the left foot, let your hips line up with the right. And then you use the waist turn to move the foot. So now the feet are parallel. You shift to the middle, knees are bent here. And as you rise, don't lock the knees. The arms change into the Wu Chi position. Okay, so the Wu Chi position is the arms, are next to the body, not in front. And the elbow, so the arm was like this. We move the arms away from the body, we turn the wrist straightening, and then we just bend the elbow slightly so that we have a slight angle. So the hands are on a plane in front of the body. Okay? And then the opening movement is called preparation, with the wrist change 5 times. So just breathe in as the wrists rise, and then breathe naturally. It's like the wrists are rising to the surface of water, no higher than the shoulders. Palms face the floor. Wrists slide towards the shoulders and relax. That's the 3rd time. Wrists sink, fingers float up. We're back to Wu Chi. We're going to do that one again. Breathing in as the wrists rise. 1. Now breathing naturally, 2, the palms face the floor. 3, the wrists slide towards the shoulders, relax. The wrists sink. And as though you're moving through water, the fingertips rise slightly, no tension in the wrists, and back to Wu Chi. We'll do it once more, and I'll turn sideways so that you can see from all angles. And 1, breathing in, breathing naturally now. 2, the palms face the floor. 3, the wrists slide towards the shoulders, relax. 4, the wrists sink, the fingers float up, and we're back to the Wu Chi position. Okay, that's called preparation. Right? So Tai Chi consists of postures and transitions. So let's start from point again. We'll repeat that and do the next one. So point is a posture. And then we're going to go into the Wu Chi posture, bending the knees and hips, shifting into the right foot, stepping out with the left foot, the toes point straight ahead, get your hip width distance. Then sinking into the left, the hips line up with the right foot, relax the hip joint, turn the waist, shift to the middle, and as you rise, don't lock the knees. Now we're in Wu Chi. Okay, preparation. Just breathing in, the elbows feel heavy, wrists rise to the surface of water. 2, the palms face the floor. 3, the wrists slide towards the shoulders, relax. Elbows sink, wrists sink, fingers float up, we're back to Wu Chi. Okay, now we're going to get into that 70-30 posture. We're going to bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot, turn to the right, and as you turn to the right, you turn the right toes out a little bit, and you do what's called holding the ball. The right hand's on top. Top hand is across from the center of the sternum, bottom hand is below the navel, and the wrists are relatively straight. The palms are opposite. The arms are not like this because it stresses the shoulders. So the palms can be opposite one another. The fingertips don't have to line up. So now to bend the knees and hips, shifting all the way down into the right foot. And just like we did in that basic movement pattern, we're going to step out with the left foot. And you can look, make sure the toes are pointed straight ahead and you've kept that hip width distance. You don't want to narrow the stance. Now, bend the knees and hips, pay attention to the bottom of the front foot. Relax the rear hip joint, most of the weight's in the front foot. Now you just turn your waist to the front, and to change the hands, the bottom hand, the left hand, comes up outside the right hand, facing the sternum, and then the right hand goes down your center line and back out to this Wu Chi position. This is called ward off left side. The left arm is the ward-off arm protecting. Tai Chi is a martial art, that's its history. So the hand and this arm protect the heart and lungs and would keep an incoming person or force off of your body. If the hand is here, then you're collapsed. So we have kind of an open floating feeling. Okay, so we're going to do that again from point. Feet are in a small V. Take a few moments to settle and relax. And begin bending the knees and hips, shift into the right foot, step out with the left foot, toes point straight ahead, hip width distance. Shift into the left, let your hips line up with the right foot. Turn to the front, pivoting on the heel. The feet should be parallel, hip width distance. And as you rise, the arms change into the Wu Chi position. Now check your feet and adjust them in case you didn't get it quite right. And then preparation. 1, breathing in. And then breathing naturally. 2, the palms face the floor. 3, the wrists slide towards the shoulders, relax. 4, the wrists sink, fingers float up. We're back to Wu Chi. Ward off left side. Bend the knees and hips. Shift into the left foot. Turn to the right. Turn the right toes out a little bit. Hold the ball. The right hand's on top. Shift all the weight into the right foot so you can take a step with the left foot. Again, try to keep the weight on the right foot so that becomes an empty step. Now you mindfully and purposefully bend the knees and hips, shift down into the front foot, turn the waist and change the hands. Bottom hand comes up on the outside and the top hand goes down the center line. So ward off left side. Now from here, we're going to be shifting the weight, causing the arms to change. So we bend the knees and hips. As we shift into the right foot, the right hand comes up. The left arm doesn't change. As we shift into the left foot, the right hand comes to the inside of the left hand and the heels of the hands touch. This is called press. Now it's called press, but there's not a lot of tension between the hands. The touch is very light. Okay? Now the outside hand, the left hand, is facing you. The hands keep contact, it turns down and up, and then the right hand wipes off the back and the hands separate. So the fingertips are roughly shoulder high and shoulder width. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what that looks like. And then we're going to bend the knees and hips, shift into the rear foot, and as we do that, we're just going to bend the elbows. Keep the hands high, and the hands come towards the shoulders. Relax the left hip joint, and now release the push down into the front foot. So we're back into our 70-30, and this posture is called push. So you can see I've got most of my weight in the front foot, and my hands are like this. This is like an equilateral triangle. Okay, shift into the rear foot. We're going to go back to point and take a short break, walk around a little bit, and we'll just repeat it. And again, feel free to let me know if you have any questions here. Okay. Great, I think I'm going to adjust my screen slightly. So that's the first half of the first third, and we're just going to repeat it. So from point, take the time to settle here. Notice how your feet feel. Every person's body is different. Legs aren't necessarily the same length. Some people are pigeon-toed, some people are knock-kneed. So things don't always line up quite right the way I'm describing. So that's why the feet are so important. So if the feet are flat and the weight is evenly distributed over the whole foot, let me take a moment to talk about that, what that means. So yeah, so this is your foot, all the toes. Center of the heel, this is the area behind the big toe, and this is the area behind the little toe. If these 3 points have contact and the weight's even on all 3 points, then the weight will be evenly distributed over the whole foot. That means when you shift the weight, it'll shift into the center of the foot and then go out, kind of like a plunger. You know, when you push a plunger down, the stick goes down and it adheres fully. So that's kind of what the foot is like. When we take a step, right, set the heel down slightly. As soon as these 2 parts hit the floor, we're connected and the weight goes down. right? So when we're in point and when we're settling, take a moment to just be aware of the feet. And think about the bottom of the foot, this open area in the center of the foot. The Chinese call it the bubbling well. It's called a yung chuan. And they believe that that's where your energy connects you to the earth. And we do talk about a root and building a root. Okay, and begin. Bending the knees and hips, shift down into the right foot. Step out to the left. Hip width distance, toes straight ahead. Shift into the left. The hips rotate to line up with the right foot. Turn to the front, pivoting on the heels. Shift to the middle. And as you rise, the arms change into the Wuchi position. Again, the feet are hip width distance. Adjust them if you didn't get it quite right. And preparation. Elbows feel heavy as the wrists rise to the surface of the water. Palms face the floor. Wrists slide back, relax. Wrists sink, fingers float up. We're back to Wuchi. Okay, water off left side. Bend the knees and hips, shift into the left. Turn to the right toes out. Hold the ball all the way into the right foot. Keep your hips lined up with the right foot so you're not facing front. Then shift the weight, bend both hips, shift into the center of the front foot. When most of the weight's in the front foot, you turn the waist and change the hands. The hands move along the center line. Left hand comes up, right hand goes down into the Wuchi position. And bend the hips as we shift down into the center of the left foot. The right foot. The right hand comes up. As we shift into the front foot, right hand comes to the inside into press. Okay. Left hand turns down and up. The hands separate. Shift into the rear foot and release the push. Okay. Shift into the rear foot, go back to point. I'm going to turn around and we'll do it in the same direction. So from point here. Again, head is easing upward, suspended by the crown, feet firmly rooted to the earth. So the image of a tree is really a great one for Tai Chi because, as I say, we talk about forming a root. And, a tree is firmly rooted to the earth and the upper leaves and branches receiving the light from the sun. And begin bending the knees and hips, sinking all the weight into the right foot. Step out with the left foot, hip width distance, toes point straight ahead. Go ahead and look, it's fine. And then shift into the center of the foot. The hips rotate to line up with the right foot. Turn the waist, shift to the middle. Rise into the Wuchi position. Make sure your knees are not locked. The elbows are heavy, feeling heavy. The wrists are open and straight. Be aware of the top of the head, the bottoms of your feet, your fingertips and thumb tips. In preparation, the wrists floating to the surface of the water, then the palms face the floor. We slide towards the shoulders and relax. The wrists sink, fingers floating up through the water, and then we're back to Wuchi. Ward off left side. Bending the knees and hips, shift into the left foot. Turn to the right, turn the right toes out a little bit. Hold the ball. Right hand's on top. Hands are on the center line. Bend both knees and hips, shifting into the center of the right foot. Now don't let the left knee collapse in. The left knee stays straight. And then take your step. Your hips are lined up with the right foot. Bend the knees and hips, release into the center of the left foot. Relax the right hip joint. Turn the waist and change your hands. Left hand comes up, right hand goes down. We're in ward off left side and shifting into the right foot. The right hand comes up, shifting into the left. Right hand comes to the inside into press. Left hand turns down and up. The hands separate. Shift into the right, down into the right foot. Go ahead and release the push. Okay, and let's walk around a little bit, take another short break, and next we're just going to focus on the other half of, this is called first circle, and it's just the mirror image. So we've done everything with the left foot as the front foot, and now we're going to do the exact same postures and transitions with the right foot being the front foot. Okay, let's take that little break. I need more water. All right, so we'll do this. We'll do it from point again, facing you, and then we'll just add the second half. Okay, so in point, just relax and settle. Allow your knees to feel heavy. They're not locked. Think about your tailbone having some weight. Hopefully that'll help relax and release the lower back. And let your elbows feel heavy. So in the Tai Chi fundamentals, we talk about the three heavies: the knees, the tailbone, the elbows. The three lights are the top of the head, the eyes, and the hands, specifically the fingertips and thumb tips. Okay, relax the belly, no tension in the belly, no tension in the muscles of the buttocks. And begin bending the knees and hips, shift into the right foot. Step out with the left foot, the toes point straight. Shift the weight, turn to the front, pivoting on the heel, shift to the middle, and into the Wu Chi position. And preparation, 1, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And shift into the left, turn to the right toes out, hold the ball, right hand's on top, shift the weight, take your step, shift down into the center of the foot, turn the waist, changing the hands. So the left palm is facing the sternum, the right arm is in Wu Chi. This is ward off left side. Shift the weight, the right hand comes up, shift into the front foot back to your 70-30, and that's what moves the right hand to the inside of the left. Left hand turns down and up, the hands separate, the hands stay high. We shift down into the rear foot and release the push. Now to change sides, we shift into the right foot, turn to the left, turn the left toes out, and now we hold the ball with the left hand on top. Shift all the way into the left foot, step straight with the right foot. Now here I'm going to back up so you can see my feet. So again, when you take that step, make sure you're not narrow. Look at the feet, keep that distance between the heels, and your turn to the left lined up with the left foot. Bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot. When most of the weight's in the left foot, turn the waist. Most of the weight's in the right foot, turn the waist, change the hands. Now, we're in ward off right side. Okay, don't let the elbow drop down. You want the feeling that this whole arm is floating on water. And then as we shift into the left foot, the left hand comes up. As we shift into the right foot, the left hand comes forward. Now it's the right hand that turns down and up. The hands separate. We shift into the rear foot and release the push. Now to finish first circle, all the way down into the right foot, step up with the left foot. We're just going to go back to Wu Chi. So the left foot's across from the right foot. We shift to the middle, and as we rise, the arms go back to Wu Chi. And then we would continue the form from here, or we can close, and that's why it's called first circle. So to close, you bend the knees and hips, shift into the right foot, turn the left toes out slightly, all the way into the left foot, pick up the right foot, bring it in, and we're back to point. So I'm going to check the time again. We should have a few more minutes. Yes, just 11:09. So let's go through this whole first circle, first and second. I'm going to adjust my screen. Again, I'm not seeing any questions. Okay. So again, from point, remember the knees feel heavy, the knees are not locked, tailbone's heavy, elbows heavy. Head feels light, easing upward, eyes are light, and the hands are light. Relax the belly, relax the back. And begin bending the knees and hips, shift all the way into the right foot, step out with the left foot, toes are straight, shift down into the left foot, let your hips line up with the right, turn to the front, pivoting on the heel, shift to the middle, rise into the Wu Chi position so the arms change, knees not locked. Okay, in preparation, breathing in as the wrists rise, then the palms face the floor. Wrists towards the shoulders. Wrists sink. Back to Uchi. And ward off left side. Bend the knees and hips. Shift into the left. Turn to the right. Turn the right toes out. Hold the ball. Right hand's on top. All the weight into the right foot. Step straight out with the left. Shift the weight. Turn the waist. Change the hands. The left hand comes up. And the right hand goes down. This is ward off left side. The right arm is just like the Wuchi position. As we shift into the right foot, the right hand comes up. As we shift into the left foot, the right hand comes to the inside of the left. This is called press. Now the left hand turns down and up. The hands separate. Shift into the rear foot, bringing the hands towards the shoulders. And release the push. Okay, stay there for a moment. Relax the lower back. You got most of the weight in the front foot. Okay, to change sides, we shift down into the right foot. We turn to the left, turn the left toes out, and we hold the ball with the left hand on top. Now bend the knees and hips. That allows you to keep the body upright. Shift all the weight into the left foot and step with the right foot. I want you to be able to see my feet. Again, look at your feet, not narrow. And then bend the knees and hips, sink into the right foot, turn the waist, change the hands. Now, the right arm is the ward-off arm, and the left arm is in Wuchi. Bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot, left hand comes up, sinking into the front foot, brings the left hand forward. Right hand turns down and up, the hands separate, shift down into the rear foot, release the push, all the way down into the right foot, step up with the left, and as you rise, the arms move back to Wuchi. We're going to hold Wuchi just for a little bit. It's a really important part of learning Tai Chi is spending some time in the Wuchi position, kind of letting everything settle and relax. And we're going to close now. So we bend the knees and hips, shift into the right foot, turn the left toes out, all the way to the left foot, pick up the right foot, bring it in, and we're back to Wuchi. So we're going to stop there. Thank you all so much. And I believe that Loretta has a few words for us.
All right. Thank you, Shelley. That was great. I was watching you.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. See you next week. Be sure and check for aarp.org/mo for more information. See you next week.